Are you stoked?
Pretty stoked. All right. Testing,
You're not.
testing.
Testing, testing.
Let's see. All
Okay.
right. We are good to go.
So we're live. Is that what you're saying?
We are live and we're good to go.
So you can hear my taps, right?
We can hear your taps. Yes.
Just making sure, bro. Just making sure. I get a lot of mic complaints sometimes. Good evening and welcome to CanHammer, your stop for Warhammer 40k from the Great White North. Today's show is episode 167. We're going to talk all about the new P&P, that tournament circuit that the first one just happened, and I attended. We're going to get into a few other things like hobby and what we've been up to, and give you guys a little bit of news. If you're tuning in for the very first time, this is our weekly / bi-weekly, mostly weekly
We've
now.
been getting pretty good at it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is ETC's being done. Podcast where we talk about gaming. Generally in the tag, the title of the show, we put whether it's Age of Sigmar, 40k, maybe another game. Well, we do sprinkle stuff in here and there just for
Variety.
Yeah, we got to do some stuff. First thing, I got some business to attend to right away. So last podcast, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I was called out by Matt Czar. I know he's listening. He said that after Attack X, he would be the #1 orc player in Canada. And the results came out. Yeah, so orcs, they didn't win the event or anything, but he did succeed. He is 10 points or 15 points or something like that ahead of me. So I'm coming for you, Matt. I'm looking right at you. I'm coming for you. Just want you
that
to know.
Canadian meta. It's hot.
We'll see. I have about 2 or 3 events before Christmas, so I should be able to.
You're not going to LVO, are you, Chris?
Me? No, I'm not going to LVO.
Yeah.
Matt, are you going to LVO? Send us a message. Or, maybe I have to go.
You want to do some infield reporting, Matt?
He'd be like, this is what the best Canadian orc player sees on our channel. Vic, damn it, Matt. Matt. Okay, so I'll hand it off to Darren to pay the bills.
Yeah, welcome people watching right now, Strazius and Bobby Halls and Crusade Rock. Thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks to our sponsors. We got Dan and Dylan over at the Red Dragon, Martin at Dyson Decks, and Hoyt up in Thunder Games and Gifts, and David Tistaminis. Thank you to all our patrons and our subscribers and followers on YouTube and Twitch. And thank you to all the dudes in our... You've seen this, Chris. Our ridiculously large Custodes Discord chat.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
It's gone viral. Like literally.
Ding, 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 ding. Keep joining. I'm like, whoa. I'm going in there. They're using all these terms with X's and A's and Q's, and I'm like, I don't know what these words mean.
It's gone crazy. Our Discord was literally empty, and then I was
It wasn't
like,
empty. It was just quiet.
It was never used, yeah. And then I started this Custodes chat, invited some people in, and then boom, we've got like a whole crap ton of people in there, which is cool, which is really cool.
Yeah, so if you like models with 15 figures and you like big burly men in gold armor, join our Discord, and talk to Darren.
Yeah.
There's some sick painting, some sick painters in that Discord.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely a small army, so a lot of painters are drawn to it. And there's some gorgeous stuff that people posted.
Yeah, this guy Skip is doing his like Dark Mechanicum converted Custodes army. It looks awesome. Looks awesome.
Okay, so why don't you take it away and plug your event or our event?
Yeah. So of course, I just want to put in next week, 1 week from tonight, at around this time, registration opens for CanHammer Team Tournament 2020. And this year it's going to be in Ottawa, back to the homeland at the EY Center. It's going to be amazing. If you've ever been to Capital City Bloodbath, you know it's an amazing venue. And we're starting at a cap of 100, so that's 20 teams of 5 ETC
Not starting,
style.
we're ending at a cap of 100.
We'd have to have compelling reason to go above that.
Yeah,
let's just put it that way.
Let's keep it awesome.
And it's hard, like, we can't go, 21 teams, right? Like, you have to have, even numbers. So, but if there's huge demand, we'll have to seriously consider it. But
yeah, and if you are a solo, send us a quick message, DM, email. There's always teams looking for 1 or 2 guys. Now, you might have to wait till relatively close to the event because a lot of dropouts happen last minute, but usually there's always room on teams last minute.
Yeah, like if you're solo and you're relatively available on that weekend, we could keep a list of like people that when captains come up there and it's like we had it dropped, and we'd be like, okay, here's the list of people. So that's very useful because it's always a scramble when you lose a player at the last minute. But yeah, ETC style Warhammer 40K,
5-player teams.
5-player teams. It's going to be epic. It's $100 per player, so $500 per team. You would sign up on. Yeah, you get 2 meals, amazing venue, 5 rounds, and the meals are good. Like they were great at CSBB this year, and hotel
They're
block.
usually pretty good. We've had a day or two in the past that was like maybe like pizza or something that maybe wasn't the best for people, but for the most part, the food there is better than most tournaments I've gone to.
You missed it this year. It was legit, Chris. Legit. We had brisket, and it was good. It was good.
You're just talking it up, man. It was probably terrible. You're just
it was good. It was good.
It was good when Chris isn't there. No, and so like we go by the mentality of I'm full disclosure. I'm playing the event, so I won't be contributing to scores. I'll be doing more administrative stuff. Just full disclosure, which has never been an issue in the past. I obviously have to practice for the ETC. It's a lot of fun, and we're going to be hopefully using the latest ETC missions, which should be out really soon. So they'll be a little bit fresh.
Yeah, when do you think that's going to be, Chris? What's the inside track?
I'm not sure when I'm allowed to release them. Or it's not me. Somebody else is allowed to release them.
Approximately, like October, November?
I'm hoping October we can get out a draft pack or something, yeah. I have Tom said that he's going to work on one, and then we're going to try to test it for the real ETC. So try to work out some bugs.
Cool. Yeah, so for now, just use the old stuff, but there's probably going to be updated packs before we have our tournament, obviously. And we got our whole hotel block set up across the street at the Hotel Garden. Everything's ready to go. So you need BCP to sign up, or you can sign up online through the BCP website. But
the captain has to buy the ticket, right?
Yeah, captain buy the ticket. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter who buys the ticket, but then you have to let us know who the captain is. And then when you sign up, make sure you put who the captain is, what your team name is, and who's on your team if you know at that point, ideally.
Yes. So it will be $500 to buy a ticket.
That's right. Don't put in like $100 or something. Like I'm gonna set the ticket price at $500. So
you buy for your whole team. We should have 20 transactions. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. So I'm gonna set the ticket price at $500. So unless you're ready to put up $500, you're not gonna get a ticket.
Well, just get your team together. Get the money pooled now if it's an issue.
Yep. And that's a good 4 months ahead of time, so that's lots of time to prep. Of course, list will be due like a month before. The codex cutoff will be like 6 weeks before that. Like standard protocol.
Well, it's usually everything's like a month before.
Yeah, it's like a month before. So.
And the month before is like Christmas, so there's no worries there.
Yeah, there's not going to be any big releases.
Nothing big drops. Yeah, so we should be fine. We'll just have to, and the November chapter approved should be out well before that.
Yep.
So it should be very stable rules-wise.
Yep.
So with that in mind, ETC applications, the deadline is October 1st, which is in 4 or 5 days from recording this podcast. So if you want to apply, and it's after October 1st, you're listening to this, just do it right away. Go to the ETC Facebook page for Team Canada, and you can apply there. We have lots and lots and lots of interest this year, which is fantastic.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. So I'm returning as captain, and Scary is returning as assistant captain.
Nice.
Yeah, the dream team. It's we got a lot of work done, and we're going to continue to get more work done.
Yeah. That sounds
he
exciting.
He does a lot of the things that I'm really weak in, like social media.
Yeah, so we'll have the missions, the new missions, and those will be the missions with small modifications that will be next summer, right? Like they're not going to change them again. So if you're
maybe a little bit, yeah. There's always changes, tweaks, and meta changes, and book changes, and fact changes. But yeah, hopefully, like if ninth edition drops in like May, it's going to all change. But like I don't think that's going to happen with. The Marines are just coming out now, right? And they're the poster boys. So they got to have a good year in of just hardcore Marine sales.
Yeah. So it is, if you're just a single player and you're not on a team and you're applying for the ETC, might be nice to get yourself onto a team so you can come and at least play 5 rounds of ETC,
Yep.
The style of the missions are generally the same, even if the specifics of the missions change from year to year. So.
Yeah. So the only other breaking news, I guess, came out yesterday, was this or day before yesterday? Cities of Sigmar for Age of Sigmar is coming out. You
Oh
pumped?
man, that So is it me, or are there like not really a lot of new models for any of those armies? It's just a whole bunch of little armies all put together, right?
Yeah, they're taking a lot of the order forces, the little order factions, kind of like what the old Empire should have been. It's like the Empire was specifically just the men that were kind of like dressed like Germans from, I don't know, the turn of the century or before 1800s. I'm not really sure
Yeah, it's
what
weird.
historically they were based off of, but it's very Germanic. And those guys, they've kind of expanded it. They've added in some dwarf elements and some other kind of order races just to kind of produce. These are all the cities that are under Sigmar's rule. If you read the fluff, Sigmar, before Chaos came, basically ruled everything except for maybe like the undead and a bit of the elf stuff. But most of the things he ruled over. So it makes sense that all these different factions kind of come together as these like civilian armies of Sigmar. And it kind of made sense in 8th edition a lot. Like they never did it. Like fantasy, sorry, is that yeah, it made like you read a lot of fluff. The dwarfs and the Empire did fight together a fair amount if they needed to, if it served both their interests. So it's pretty exciting because I was worried that a lot of those Empire models would get culled, removed. A lot of those dwarf models would get culled, removed. Now they did do a massive cull, but now we're looking like a very more stable game. The factions are more manageable. It's a lot easier if you bring a kid into the story, points out, oh, I like these dudes, and I like these dudes. You're like, well, that's like
Put them together.
together, like easy peasy. So
Hey,
it's a
so
lot
our Draconis army, is that going to be in this book?
that I don't know,
Oh,
but I'm pretty sure they're dead. So I think we wait. Sorry, Darren.
there's no Bretonians in this book or anything like that.
Well, the Bretonians are. I don't believe so. A lot of those models are very dated.
Yeah.
And I think I've said this before, but this goes back to, I believe, like his Games Workshop always said like, oh, we're never going to cull. And they kind of aren't now. They're like, oh, we're going to keep all these rules posted and all this old stuff. But I think it got to a point where they just can't produce those kits anymore. It just makes sense, right? Nobody's going to buy them if they do. The used market's flooded with them. They gotta move on. So
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I like it. And since I played Warhammer Total War 2, the Empire, I'm still in that 8th edition mindset with this computer game. So the Empire iconography, and they just released a DLC with a new Empire character. And so you're playing that, and you're like, this should be an Age of Sigmar. Like, these are the iconic, like, good guys, humans of the old world. And, like, these are the people of Sigmar. Like, the Empire is what actually followed Sigmar in the old world. Like, and so it didn't make sense that they were not given any proper treatment, didn't have a book, didn't have rules, didn't have all this cool stuff. So I'm pretty excited now.
Well, I mean, it must have taken them. They must have been writing this book for a while to somehow put all these things together in a sensible way and try and make sure that there's no crazy cross faction business. And
Nah, that's easy to do. What I think it is I think that when Age of Sigmar first came out, they kind of had like when you roll a project out at work, you have kind of mandates and the direction you're moving in. And Sigmar was moving in this direction. No points, all this weird stuff. And then they kind of adjusted in, gave him points, but they made some promises about keeping all the old war scrolls, keeping all the old models, blah, blah, blah. And then splitting all the factions and these little subgroups and allies. And I think they've probably had some kind of major directional changes. This edition 2, and mainly the last couple books, maybe not like Fire Slayers, but Sylvaneth and the Orc book and the Cities of the Empire book, they've shown like a shift in direction of the whole product line. Like they're putting in all these factions back together. They're making it one book. It
Beast
just
of
kind
Chaos.
of yeah, Beast of Chaos kind of followed that line as well. Instead of just like fragmenting it, you can do whatever you want, build your own game, like they kind of tightened it down, but they didn't really tighten it down. Now they're almost going back to the old way, but modernized. And I like it. I'm more stoked. It's a lot easier to give somebody a faction book and say, just take whatever you want out of this. You need a couple characters. You need a couple.
I really like that picture they put up with like all the battle line you can have from this book. And there's like 30 models there. It's crazy.
Oh, of course. Of course. And it's great. Yeah, and so some factions make sense to separate them out. But even then, like, some of the death stuff's a little bit too separate in my opinion still
Yeah,
too.
I think Death still needs to be consolidated. But
It's one book.
Paint Pot Kieran has joined us. Kieran
Oh,
Gibb, the one and
same
only.
team. Yeah, he might be playing. I heard he's playing on a pretty good team for CanHammer team.
Yeah, you know that Kieran only plays if he can win.
Yeah, love it. So why don't you talk about the new Warhammer Underworlds?
I haven't been following Underworlds. I know they just brought up Beastgrave because I have the Sylvaneth models from the Beastgrave box over there on top of 20 Sylvaneth boxes that I'm going to build. Because they're a 120 point way of getting +1 to wound spell into your army, so that's pretty sweet. But I have not. I've fallen off the wagon. Underworlds, big time. Just no time.
So the reason I put that in the news section is I've not interrupted, but I've been in about 3 or 4, not rants. I don't want to call them rants, but a lot of people are like, all the old stuff's obsolete. It's all garbage. And so I just kind of wanted to get so there seems to be a lot of misinformation going around. They're only getting rid of the common cards from Shadespire. So
Yeah, you
they're
keep
not
all your
killing
faction cards, and you
all
can
your faction
still
cards.
use the factions.
Exactly. They're still valid. The only thing not valid is the core gaming cards from Shadespire, which I don't think is that big of a deal. I think it needed to happen because a lot of those cards are just so much better. Like, I think most of my decks were like 2/3 Shadespire cards and stuff, so it's kind of good to get rid of a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, and
Which is nice.
you can't eventually end up 2 years from now having like 7 boxes. Like you
Yeah.
just can't do that. Like that's
You
ridiculous.
have to be able to take out, like, I have a bind. I just bought a binder for each set, so now I have one binder that just goes back into the.
So is it that they're gonna always have 2 sets going? Is that?
Well, I don't know about that mandate. I know that the Shadespire cards are gone. Like,
Yeah.
if they release a third set and there's no real crazy cards from Night Vault, like, and they're not dominating the game, maybe they just leave them in. But I think the Shadespire cards warranted getting rid of them. And yeah, so if you bought one of those factions, you're fine. You'll keep your cards. And that's kind of where I wanted to go with that, just because people were.
What?
I heard
Internet
that
panic?
on the
What?
weekend. I heard it online. Like, I've had about 4 or 5 conversations with people where I'm like, no, they're not dropping all the old stuff, just some of it.
Gamers panicking? No, don't say that.
Gamers always panic.
It's not so.
Yeah, games got to stay fresh or they die anyway, right? So yeah, you might lose some players because you cull some range and then you move on, and you lose a couple of players because you got rid of the first set of common cards. But if you don't do that, you're going to die anyway. So it's kind of, you got to keep it fresh, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll move on. So I guess anything you've been doing in the hobby lately, buddy?
Yep. I've been painting, hopefully, the last of my Custodes until they bring out more stuff. But just finishing off these Sagittarium, and I will finish my Venatari and my Orion, and then I'm done. And then I have all this Sylvaneth to do, which I'm very excited about. So, yeah, my I'm hoping to make like a petrified, like undead wood Sylvaneth army, so I don't have to paint any foliage. I'm gonna cut all the foliage off. It's thematic and lazy at the same time. Perfect. Yeah.
So I actually took a break from the orcs for a little bit. Blasphemous, I know. Painting them anyway. I'm not done them, obviously. I like you never end.
It's the endless time.
But I got a Blood Bowl tournament coming up this weekend, so it gave me the chance. I'm almost done. I only had to paint 5 players, so it gave me a chance to sit down, paint 5 models, take my time a little bit. I'm not quite done them, but I'm almost there. It's been really refreshing. One of the weird things is going back and painting metal models from like the 80s, because all my Chaos Dwarfs for Blood Bowl, which is what I'm playing, are like the original figures. And I bought them like early 2000s when I played in this league. And I think they were old models. Well, they were obviously very old when I bought them there, but I don't even think I bought them from GW. I think I bought them used. So it's kind of funny painting like the big-handed classic GW figures, all the skulls and spikes. It's really kind of nice.
Yeah.
Different. A lot less trinkets
Man.
than modern figures, but that's what I've been working on, which is kind of cool. So when I'm done that, I got to get back to the orcs. I also assembled and I'm working on some free blades.
Oh no!
Yeah,
There
I don't
goes
think that's going to
Chris.
take over, but I got a game tomorrow night, so it'll be fun.
Against who?
Weber.
Oh, the Weber.
Yeah. So him and I are spending a lot of time time this weekend because we got to have a 4-hour drive to go to a Blood Bowl tournament. That's 3 games, and then a 4-hour drive back the same day. So we're gonna get up at 4 a.m. We're gonna go till like I think midnight.
It's a true romance.
and Thursday night we're playing Free Blades at my house.
That is a true romance.
What's going on for sure. Okay, so I guess we'll move on to the main topic. So why don't you talk about what P&P is?
Yeah, so P&P is our kind of RTT series that we host here in Canada. We used to host.
It's not ours anymore, bro. It's not ours.
Well, I'm giving the history. I'm giving the history. So, like, we used to run it at Multizone, and we used to run it, and then we found that it was difficult to get them going because it depended on either myself or Chris to be available, and can be busy sometimes. So, what we've done actually with this new partnership with Dan and Dylan at Red Dragon and their big new store that can hold like 25 tables. They have taken over running P&P, planning it and TOing it and everything, and we're just giving them the name of the tournament, and they've turned it into a series.
And the trophy. And we gave them the trophy.
Yeah, so the Power Fist trophy that we had last time. Yeah, that you can fist psychers with.
Get your name on it, so the winner of it gets their name on it.
Yeah. So it's a 8 tournament series per season, so like over a year, there's 8 of them. One a month, basically, other than the months where we have the big tournaments. And then it's like 20-person cap, so 3-round RTTs. And you can buy them as a batch ticket, so you get a discount if as a season's pass.
So it's actually going up to 4 games and 16 people.
Oh, okay, cool. And then the new thing, of course, is that the winner has the option of taking prize support or getting a free ticket to CCBB. And so we're kind of having CCBB as like the year-end anchor, and these tournaments kind of leading up to CCBB. And in the future, maybe one might
for the locals. Yeah, it's not like it's not like a true thing, but it's more of play in these P&Ps and then go kick some ass at CCBB because you guys have been practicing.
Yeah, and maybe we might even have plans in the future, maybe of turning all the winners into like an invitation or something. I don't know. There's lots of potential.
He says he's talking about Dan and Dylan.
Yeah, we're all working together.
So. We all kind of work together.
So we just had the first one of this year's series, which is actually P&P. Now I got confused on the numbers. I think it's 14.
Yeah,
because I missed one that was 13. I didn't realize a 13 had happened, so so I think it's 14. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So I went to
reset the number.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fine. So I actually went to this, played. I was looking for another excuse to try out the ITC format, get some more practice. I think we talked the last show. I think was the Montreal recap, where I talked about transitioning from ETC to ITC format, changing my orc list to kind of work better in ITC. So I went off the momentum of my second place finish at Montreal. I went, okay, that seemed to work. Some of the things that didn't work is I actually dropped one of my shock attack guns just for 3 more mech guns. Made more sense. And, it's an obvious decision. The range didn't really hurt me that much. Could have been just maybe the deployment styles I played on, I didn't require the extra 60 inches. There were some games where the 60 inches times 3 was worth it, but it just didn't come up maybe this weekend. So anyway, that's kind of the changes I made. One thing that I wanted to make is I wanted to add in maybe more psychic, but I didn't bother for this one. I just wanted to do small incremental changes instead of changing a lot of stuff. So I went in with 140 boys, 90 of which were Evil Sons, 2 units of Shooter Boys, 1 unit of Slugger Boys. Then I took 30 Shooter Boys that were Bad Moons, and then 10 Shooter Boys that were Bad Moons. And I did the all, join them up, shoot twice, big blob of Bad Moons. I took 14 mech guns, Smasher guns, obviously. They're just so good. And big Relic Shock Attack gun as my Warlord. And I took another Shock Attack gun just because to back them up. Kind of really didn't do a lot this tournament. Last tournament did, so I'm like, I'll keep them around for a bit. Both were Death Skulls. 2 Weird Boys, and that was about it. I took the Custom Force Field guy from the Index, who I'm going to have to change out probably soon, as I believe Index is going to be gone in November. But
you think it's going to be in Chapter Approved, the Legends thing? It might be in the FAQ. That's the kind of thing they could put in the FAQ.
Well, the FAQ was supposed to drop this week. It didn't,
It's
right?
supposed
So
to. Well, it's still half the week left.
yeah, I guess. So yeah, it was pretty. That was about it. Took the same old list. Round one, I actually got against Necrons.
Peter
Interesting.
Piccioni.
Yeah, Peter. It was an interesting game. I was always scared of Necrons for the sole. I know a lot of people listening. Necrons easy win. Blah, blah, blah. And maybe it's true. They are one of the weaker books, but there's a lot of Necrons at the ETC. Necrons are extremely good at dealing with hordes generally, and they have a few tricks on their hands. So he took 3 of the Knights of the Flyers, and then he took 3 of the Annihilation Barges.
Classic
and then
list.
and then he had a unit of who are the guys with the Tesla? The 10 guys on foot.
Immortals.
Immortals. Yeah, sorry, Immortals. I was like, there's something. I should know the name of them. Immortals, and then they were like, -1 to hit. He had some characters buffing them, and those Immortals they can basically blow up 30 boys in a turn.
Yeah, with the Tesla.
Quite
yeah.
easy. I went in this round. I said I need to go first because the one thing that I know about this list is that when you take the 3 flyers, they have a stratagem that allows them to basically pick a point and cause mortal wounds to all units within range. Now, when you have 14 mech guns, a gazillion characters, grots, and we were in the table quarter deployment,
That's
9
a
inches from
lot of mortal wounds.
yeah. So in this deployment style, my army basically fills the whole zone, and I can spread out a little bit, but he's going to mess me up. And this is ITC, so the first game is always, you go, I go, you get the +1, I do, right? And he got the +1, so I was like, I'm probably going to go second. So I tried my best to mitigate that. Luckily, I went first. So that's a huge deal for me, huge deal. And so when I went in, I said, okay, one of those planes needs to be eliminated. So if you see a guy with the 3 night sights, right, is what they're called,
Yeah.
3 of the Necron Flyers. See, I speak so generically when I play my games. I got to get more into the terminology. But when they have 3 Necron, 3 night sights, you have to kill one. Because when you kill one, they can no longer do their strat. They're not like the Eldar where they need 2 fire prisms. So if an Eldar has 3 fire prisms, there's something similar, but it's much better, obviously. But you have to kill 2 of them before they can not reroll hits and wounds. Whereas the Necrons, they need all 3. So you just have to kill one of those bad boys. So for me, it was worthwhile to put as much as I needed to do to kill one of those things turn 1. And then I actually deemed the Annihilation Barges, because I'm a Horde army, I was like, I'll try to trap them so they fly off the board. I'll shoot the rest of his army. So those Barges, I shot them, but if he rolls under the damage, you don't do anything to him.
Yeah.
Because so I honestly didn't kill one of them. I just killed 1 flyer. That was it. And that was a big mistake. I should have shot everything into the Immortals after killing 1 plane. But I couldn't really see them. They were kind of hidden, -1 hit. So I wasn't too hard on myself. But if you're into a game against Necrons, that's kind of the mindset you have to do is kill 1 plane and kill those Immortals. Yeah. A lot of guys take 30 Immortals, though, now. So if they're on anti-Horde duty.
I've been informed that it's actually the Doom Scythe, not the Night Scythe.
What did I say?
You said the Night Scythe, which apparently is the transport one. They're both croissants, so that's
my bad. Doom Scythe.
I think the only difference is the little gun underneath looks different. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. That's the only difference is they have a little crystal gun on the bottom. It's fine. Sorry, guys. Done goofed. I don't know the game. I don't play it enough. And that's part of the reason, too, going into this game, I was really worried because I haven't played them since TGX in the doubles. I played a half Necron, half Guard army. And that was the last time. And it wasn't like this at all. So I just kind of knew so going into a game, you just need to know the really scary stuff that an army can do and then try to mitigate that, even if you don't know the rest. So
yeah, I need to get Peter on the channel with his Necron army again.
Yeah, because he's actually a joy to play. Nice guy.
Yeah, super nice.
Knows the rules. It was a fun game. And I ended up getting a 40 or a 39. I think it was a 40. Anyway, around there. Big win to me. Went really well. Turn 2, Mortal's gone. And then I just kind of trickled him out the rest of the game, which is pretty good. Because he can't really, once you get rid of those Immortals, once he loses his bubble mortal wounds, there's not much you can do to the Orc Horde.
No. No.
And then once the boys touch the line, cover the objectives, he just can't get me off of them.
No.
He can shoot and kill a ton of boys, but he just can't get me off the objective. So it was kind of neat. It was a nice experience. Just the more you play an army, the more you learn, and then you talk about it, and people are like, "No, you're saying the wrong words," and blah blah blah. So yeah, so Doom Size, right?
Doom Scythe, yeah.
Doom Size, yeah. 3 Doom Size. They do a bubble, mortal wounds. It's terrifying.
Yeah. How many mortals did he do?
He didn't get them off because I went first.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Do you
Yeah.
know offhand how much? It's like D3 or something like that. Like it's not gonna.
Yeah, it's the size of the old blast ordnance template. All units in that range take, I want to say D3, or maybe it's random. I actually don't know. I just know that that's really scary. I should have looked it up. I don't even have the codex, so I can't even look it up.
Yeah, he still had one of the old blast templates.
Yeah, I can't even look it up. I don't have the codex. Necrons are so far off my radar. But, I went into the game knowing that I didn't know the army that well, that I showed them respect. I deployed really hard. I was very careful to bubble, shield, and it went really well. Of course,
Yep.
the Orc book's really good. So, game 2, I ended up playing a mix of Dark Eldar and Harlequins. So he had 3 troops of Harlequins. Then he had 3 units of Witches. The Witches were in Venoms, and then the Harlequins were in their transports. The planes or whatever they are, the skimmers, and then he had a unit of
Starweavers.
Starweavers. Man, I'm bad tonight. And then he had a unit of bikes, and he made a mistake. Turn 1, he went first. He jumped his bikes up, shot, pushed his whole army up, and then I just went straight into him as hard as possible and ground him out. It was a terrifying matchup though because those troops go in, kill a unit of Borgs. The 2 units of Witches go in, they kill half a unit of Orcs. The Venom shooting, I think it was by turn 3, he had killed easily 120 Orcs, and I had maybe 30 left alive because I brought 30 back. So he definitely killed a ton, but it's just that the mech guns, he couldn't get through to my mech guns. I tended to shoot a lot of his transports first to keep the Harlequins on the ground. They're still really fast, even without their transports, but I was able to kind of slow them down a little bit, and then once they're down, they can charge over you. They got flip belts. It was nasty. It had characters going in, and it was actually a very terrifying game, but it ended up being a really big win because it was very tight, very close. He was killing a lot of stuff, and then about turn 4, I was a little bit ahead, not by much, but then it was like his army was evaporated. It just it was just done.
They die so fast.
And then it was just big score, done. Yeah. So I was in the high 30s after that game, 38, 39, which is pretty good. I'm happy with that. It was a lot of fun. He was a great guy. He was trying out a new list. He wanted to go pure Harlequins. That's the direction he's moving in. So it was good to kind of see that. And the Dark Eldar were nice. Witches are always great. They hit hard. Sorry, excuse me. They hit hard. And believe it or not, a 4-up invol, when they go right, and you can't kill those bastards. So that's pretty fun. And then game 3, I played Zach. I think Zach and I, between the two of us, have won the most Ottawa RTTs.
Yep. And Will normally gets best general.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't paint as well.
So Zach usually wins a lot of these things as well. He's a really good player. Super, he's competitive, takes good lists. He brought 7 Eldar Flyers. I've never seen his 7 Eldar Flyer list before. Last time I played him, he had 3 and a bunch of Harlequins. And I knew I was going to have to play him. And he had the 3 Dark Eldar Flyers, and then he had 3 Exarchs, and then he had 1 just regular Flyer. He only had 2 Vex, which was kind of nice. And so I knew that I could maybe I wouldn't do a lot early game, and I could maybe be patient and move on, which is what I ended up doing. Usually I'm pretty confident against Eldar. With Orcs, there's a couple things that really scare me with Eldar. One of them's Harlequins, believe it or not. They scare me. Dark Reapers still scare me because they can fire and fade in ruins in ITC, and I can't stop them whatsoever, and I can't shoot them, and if he screens right, I can't get to them. So scatter bikes also really scare me. But Zach had none of these things. He had 3 of the Void Reaver tanks, or not Void Reavers.
Wave serpents.
No, sorry. The artillery pieces. Oh my god.
Oh, Oh, now you've blanked me.
Yeah, I know. I'm just so bad tonight. Usually I'm pretty good.
The web spinners.
Night spinners.
Night spinners. Night spinners.
I'm having issues. I'm losing my. Let me take a drink.
Hello to Bruce Gordon saying hail to us from New Zealand.
Oh, welcome.
Thank you very much for joining. And Strazius is filling us in. It's like that Doomsite stratagem. You roll a d6, and it does. He didn't say how many mortal wounds it does anyway.
Well, it does on whatever you roll. I think it's like d6 if you roll a certain. You know what I mean?
4 up, yeah. 4 up or something. 3 up or something, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I was going in this. Usually, I'm pretty confident against Eldar flyers. I beat Eric's Eldar. It wasn't quite a flyer spam like this, but he had a lot of tanks. In Montreal last round, and Eric's a very good player. I also beat a ex-Swede at the ETC with that list, so I was very, I was like, but they were all minor wins. They're all very close. And so I knew that going in. I knew that this game could come down to 1, 2, 3 points. Maybe less, could be a tie, could be, it's going to be very tight. And I knew that going in because once I run out of strats, it gets hard to kill stuff. So once I'm no longer more DACing and stuff like that, it's really hard to kill stuff that's -2 to hit. Even though I always hit on 6s, which is better than most people, it's really frustrating. So I went in there. He goes first, which is not good for me. I can still win. So my experience is if I go first, the Eldar player is screwed. I'm probably going to win by 1 or 2 or 3 quite easily. If they go first, it's going to be very close. I could still win, but they could also win by a couple points. That's kind of my experience with that matchup. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I've experienced. So he goes first. So I'm like, oh, crap. Comes in, kills like friggin' 6 mech guns. I was like, Jesus. So pile of mech guns come off. I'm like, okay. Kills a unit of boys completely. I was like, okay, not good. I shoot back. I drop 1 plane and cripple another plane. Not bad. I'm not complaining, but that's on the low end of the spectrum of what I expect against an Eldar player. I usually expect 2 things comfortably. That's what I'm comfortable with. He did Vec the Mordaka, so I was shooting twice, but I was only hitting on 6s. All my artillery hits on 6s. That's flaky. I was even shooting Shootas into these things, just going the full ham. Didn't do enough. The 1 plane had 1 wound. I think I shot like 40 boys. Knew it didn't even kill it. So I was like, okay, this is not good. But I went and had a moment, and we were talking about this before the show. Took a deep breath, stay calm. I got score more. He got kill more, and I got kill. So I said, okay, I'm up by 1 on primary. And one of the things that I always struggled with in ITC, maybe about 4 months ago, was getting my secondaries. I never scored 12 on secondaries. I'd get like 8 or 4 or 6. It would always hurt me. But the last event, I scored 12 every game. And actually, all my last ITC games for the last couple months, I've been scoring all my secondaries. So I had faith. I said, I picked the right secondaries. I'll score them.
What secondaries did you pick?
I picked Marked for Death. And I picked basically Vehicle Hunter. And so I picked the 4 Eldar flyers as my Marked for Death, and then because I was like, if I don't kill 8 vehicles, I'm going to lose anyway.
Okay.
Right? So it kind of gave me every time I kill a tank, I'm winning because I killed a vehicle, and I got a point for the game. So that's what I went for. And then the other one I went for is Recon, because it's the one where it's the 4 objectives, and so I knew that I needed to control 3 of those objectives to win every round, and that would give me Recon. So I kind of went like, if I'm going to win this is what I'm going to have to get. So we both scored. He did very similar, except he took like Reaper and like killed 2 units a turn, and then he took Recon. And so I kind of assumed we were both going to score 12. So to turn 1, I'm up by 1. Great. Turn 2, basically the same result, except I believe I killed Well, I killed 3 things because I killed the flyer with 1 wound left, and then I killed 2 more flyers. So at the end of turn 2, I'm still up by 2 points now, and I'm feeling really good. I'm like, okay, I killed 2 things that turn. Great. And the best part about that is like I killed 2 things, but my shock attack guns, they're not at risk right now. They're very safe. And so are my other characters. So I'm like, I'm okay. And then turn 3, that's when I guess the nail hit the coffin is I believe I got I don't want to miss I believe I got we tied the kill. So I got hold more, kill, and he got just kill. And that was when it was basically now I'm up by 4. He can't recover. So we just kind of trickled the game out. I killed 2 things a turn. I went right to the end. So it was
Yeah.
big high 30s.
Yeah, people got to remember ITC. If you assume 2 good players will score 12 on all their secondaries because they picked properly and they picked what their army can do, then it's really just who gets kill more, who gets hold more, and bonus is rare too against good players. So it's like literally it's 1 or 2 point advantage every round. And those are the close games.
Yeah, and so the one thing that I learned is I used to think that ITC was about going all or nothing.
No, it's not.
It's not. Like, patience really works. Patience, just get your objective, and if your opponent kills more, try to score more, or try to kill more. Like, just concentrate on that. Secondaries, when you put your mind to it, they're pretty easy to get.
Yeah, if you pick
When
them
you
right.
if you pick them right, and you know what your opponent does, and you calculate for your opponent playing KG, so you can get those 12 points. And I thought that was pretty neat. So I was feeling good about it. Big win there, which gave me the overall, which was really nice, because it's for me, ITC was always something that bothered me. I was always like I felt really weak in it. And I still don't feel really strong in ITC, but after Montreal and this event, I'm feeling a lot better about, how to play the missions, how to build a list. I come home from that, I can tweak my list now. So
Nice.
a couple things that I wanted to say about my list because there's a lot of orc players that want to know what I'm thinking.
They want you to start orc chat, Chris.
They want me to do a tactics video, which we might have to do. I kind of want to get my weird boys up from 2 to 3. Reason for that is there's a few things in this game that you need the smites to kill. That Harlequin characters, 3+ invulnerable. Dark Eldar characters, 2+ invulnerable. Things like that.
Shield captain with 1 Lewin left.
You just need the wounds through. You just need them. And, with the fact that the orcs can, if you can take 3 casters, you can use them as just 3 smites. And you get +3 to cast. So you're going to get 3 smites off. And you're probably going to blow one of them up. And if you're playing Chaos, you're probably going to blow all 3 of them up, which is fine. But the wicked thing is that you can buy them. So before the game, now most events let you change your powers, but before the game, you can basically decide on their powers, and then you can make them a warp head or multiples, and then you can cast 2 powers, and you can pick all their powers. So you have that option if you're like, okay, I'm playing a guy, I got to be very defensively. He has a lot of things with high armor save or high invulnerable saves. Well, so I'm going to need all 3 of my smites. Like you're playing knights. I need all 3 smites every turn, but I also need to cast a jumps and +1 attack. Well, you make them warp heads, and then you can cast both, which is kind of nice. So I definitely want to get my weird boys back up to 3. I like the 2 shock attack guns. I like having the backup guy as like just 60 inches, pop a wound on something in the back. He's not mandatory by any means. Not mandatory at all. I'm falling out of love with those 2 guys, even though last event I was like, oh yeah, pumped for 3 of them. But so I might stick with that. The custom force field, I guess I'm going to give my MVP to, because against that Eldar player, which was Zach, that saved my ass. I put one of them in, clumped because the Eldar don't really have any combat punch. I don't really have to zone out planes that much, and I have 140 boys to zone out. So I was able to get like all of them in the force field range. I think maybe one was out and it just died first, or 2 of them were out and it died first. But you get them into force field range. That 5 up makes a huge difference against Eldar because they start splitting fire like Trixie, and then you make one of your saves and you're done, right? It's really cool. Really good. So Even if that guy was to go away from the index, I'd definitely buy the Meg Armor one, which is because that force when you're taking the mech guns in some of those shooting games, you just need it. You need the 5-up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boys are still great. I still love them. I like 140, but I'm getting tired of moving them. Getting tired.
Dude,
one thing
just
is
looking at your display board makes me tired, man. Like,
yeah, it's not. I'm kind of used to it now. But
and
tank
back
busters.
pain.
I don't get the back pain. I've been actually going to the gym a lot lately, so I'm feeling good. But the tank busters are starting to intrigue me again because they would have helped me in all of my games. Every single one of them, tank busters would have been instrumental because they all had vehicles. You know, the Necron guy had 6 vehicles. The Dark Eldar Harlequins, they had 6 vehicles. And you know those tank busters can drop 2 vehicles quite easily, but then again they're sharing the CP with the Shark Attack.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the thing I'm at. Another thing that I've been looking into is Marines are basically the anti-horde powerhouse. Gross.
They might be that too. I don't know. It's not been tried.
Anti-horde powerhouse. So, you know, I know Blackburn played against a Marine guy, lost something like 60 Plague Bearers in one turn with 20 Zangors or something crazy like that. The guy that got second was Cody. He actually was playing Iron Hands. And so I want to give a shout out to Darren. Thanks for posting Meh when the Iron Hands Codex dropped. And it's probably the most broken Space Marine book out.
Iron Father Farios only like 110 points? You don't think that's reasonable?
Yeah. And then -1 to damage. It adds up, man.
Yep.
It adds up, especially when like you're shooting things like damage 2.
Yeah.
Like Luda or like tank busters and stuff.
That's why wave serpents are so obnoxious.
Well, that's not the only reason.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons. Yeah. No, it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, so this was and the Iron Hands book just it dropped that day and they were allowed to use it, so it was cool to see that. And Cody got second with it, which is pretty cool. But it's definitely scary. So one of the things that I'm looking at for my orcs is that because the Marines can just basically murder 200 models, maybe the Horde isn't the direction you want to go anymore, right? Marines are very popular, so that's one thing I'm playing around with is maybe finding something that's more elite, more survivable, that can maybe withstand the Overwatch. I've been thinking about going back to Mega Knobs, but I had such a bad experience with them, and maybe I'll have to bring them out again and just really have a second bad experience or a good one, and then I'll play with them.
Yeah, we'll see. I need to get on to Cody and get him over for a game because I am said elite army with 17 models. I want to feel some Iron Hand power.
Well, his list is very elite. It's like 3 repulsors, the heavy sport ones.
Yeah.
2 of the dreadnoughts, and he just shoots.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Well-deserved second place. He was jesting. I kind of wanted to play him over Zach because I don't know. I felt more confident maybe against the Iron Hands, but whereas the other Flyers and Zach's a really good player, so he kind of worries me sometimes when I play him. You gotta. Everybody wants to win, right, Darren? So, but yeah, he ended up dodging me, so I didn't get to play him, but I'd like to.
Get him to come down to the old Long Sioux.
Well, the next time, next tournament besides
October.
the Blood Bowl one, which is this Saturday, is like in October.
So. Are you going to next PMP?
Yeah, I'm already signed up.
I'll be there.
Oh, good. Maybe you and I will play round 1.
Grudge match.
No, I'm not grudging you. I don't want custodies. You're gonna sit in magic boxes all game and just I can't charge you.
You can charge me. You won't kill anything.
That's the thing. Orcs can't fight freaking custodies in magic boxes. Are you crazy?
Poor Peyton. He put like 60 attacks into 3 bikes and killed one of them.
Yeah, you just don't. You just sit on the objectives and be like, you're in a box. Come out and shoot me. Oh, you can't.
I wasn't in box. I was out in the open, man.
Oh, I'm surprised he didn't murder you then.
Well, he did. He shot all his tank buses at my bike unit and killed 1 bike. And then I shot forward.
Bad luck against you, buddy.
Yeah, and I killed 25 grots with my bikers. Killed his whole grot screen, and then took his tank buses out. And then my shield captain survived 2 rounds with a Death Rolla battle wagon, like 15 boys. Like, it was crazy. That's pretty cool.
15 boys, like even 30 boys. They hit hard against a lot of stuff, but there's a lot of things that they bounce off of.
2-up
And,
save.
yeah, 2-up save. Well, and then if you're in cover and they're shooting shooters at you, it's like, don't even roll it.
No.
That's why the shock attack guns are so crucial, because it's like -5. Pew! That's the sound they make when a custody dies. Okay, so let's go on to Q&A. Any questions for us from the chat?
Yeah, well, Strazius has a question. What are you going to replace the KFF model with? Just the other
Probably
KFF.
the one in Mega Armor. Yeah, because if he goes away. For now, I'm using the Index one. He's so cheap. And he's awesome. And I actually had the guy painted from 5th edition, so I didn't even have to build or paint him, which was awesome. But I think if mech guns don't get nerfed into the ground, I think you need the KFF. I don't know. I just think you need it with them. Maybe I'm wrong, but if you drop them and you take more of them, but...
Yeah. So the next question is from Kieran. I have to pull this picture up. He sent me this picture early this morning of this. I'll just put it on the stream here.
You have to describe it for all the listeners.
So this Custodes model that is a little bit feminine and is actually pole dancing around his guardian spear. Here it is.
Oh, there's a lot of like sexual 40K artwork out there, which is weird.
So yeah, he's asked me when I'm gonna buy one of those, and I did.
The answer is he already did.
I bought new army.
They're on his headboard. He has them all built on his headboard, so he sleeps while he looks.
You know the Forge World model for Genetia Crawl, who's like the leader of the Sisters of Silence. It's a pretty sweet model. I was gonna buy one and convert it into like a female shield captain, but I'm like,
Are there female custodians or no? No, right?
Not as far as I know. I mean, there could be.
They're like mates, right? There's none, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's unfortunate.
That would be cool, but yeah. But if the rumor of Sisters of Silence getting rolled into a Talon's book with Custodes is true, then I'm going to definitely get that genetic crawl model because it's gross.
Sisters of Silence had their place last edition. This edition, it's not. No, I don't feel them.
No.
You just don't need that, right?
Yeah. Nope, definitely not. So yeah, there we go. Strazius, so with Iron Hands being anti-horde, I think Iron Hands are a lot of they're anti-everything.
I think in general are anti-horde.
Like executioners can kill vehicles, no problem.
Yeah, well, just so many shots, right?
The captains with like 4 damage Thunderhammers with like a bajillion attacks that explode on 6s 3 times, like, yeah, they're anti-everything. 4 damage Thunderhammers, gross, like... They shouldn't be making 4 damage things. It's just...
Yeah, it's great. There's a lot of 4 wound things, man, that you need to die.
Yeah, like Custodes. Okay, Iron Hands.
Bias shows through.
Do you think the meta is going to switch to more elite-style armies over hordes?
So you are starting to see it. Like you are definitely... The model count on some lists that I'm seeing is going way down. But... I think a good horde is still a good horde. I think 300 Grots still control a ton of the game and take enough firepower to kill that they're still relevant. I think 140 Orc Boys, same thing. As long as you play them correctly, or if you maybe think outside the box a little bit with them. I just think maybe some of the weaker hordes won't be so hot. But you are seeing even, dare I say, a few Chaos players drop in their Plague Bearers, right? And those are arguably the hardest horde to kill, even though it's only 60 models. But
it's functionally 90 models, 120 models. Yeah. What's interesting? I mean, Chaos players are a bit resigned to the fact that probably Plague Bearers are going to get hit by Chapter Approved. So maybe we'll see the Cultists come back again. Who knows? But functionally, there are not that many hordes right now. Actually, you don't see Tyrannid hordes anymore. Hordes of Gaunts and stuff over here anyway.
If you're looking at a high model count army, you're looking at Gene Stealer Cult. You're looking at Orcs.
It doesn't.
If you're playing mids, you're going to take a lot of models if you are playing them.
Yeah, and Gene Stealer players are a little bit worried about all this 4-up Overwatch.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Is a lot of it's combat. This Overwatch is really rough to get into. Guys are taking like 4 squads, or no, they can't take 4, but 3 squads of aggressors. That's just really hard to deal with as a horde player. Even if you do eat it and go into one of them, like they just hit back so hard, as Nick will attest to, that it's brutal. Yeah, but then you'll see armies go elite, and then people will stop taking their they'll start switching
Horde
to
killing.
elite
Yeah.
options. Then you'll see the hordes come back. So I don't think it's the death of the horde. I just think the Marine matchup's going to be rougher for them, but I still feel like I can outshoot a lot of Marine armies at range right now. That's my army. So I don't think it's the death of the horde, but I think it's a balancing factor, and maybe that's a good thing. Like you look at the ETC, the model count was ridiculous. Guardsmen's a horde as well. They're like 120
Yeah.
guardsmen and stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it just changes the meta, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll
I'm
see.
still gonna run boys though. I'm gonna run boys for a while. So
Yeah, when's the next big event? I guess
boys.
Battle of Salvation, Du Bois, Michigan GT. Those are all coming up in the next few weeks. And then there's a bit of a lull till Christmas time, and LVO just around the corner.
Any other questions?
Not right now, no.
Cool. So I guess with that, thanks for listening and have a good evening.